Hey, what is going on? It's your boy X coming at y'all with a brand new video, and as you guys can see, we're back at it with another tier list, but this one is going to be ranking every single one of the best cards, at least that I could remember, out here in this one tier list. So if you guys want to see all of the cards at their relative positions, the link to those will be down in the description down below. My PGs, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers tier list will be down there. But if you guys are excited about this video, make sure you guys smash the like button down below. Comment who is your absolute favorite card to run right now in my team. I don't care who it is, anybody that is your favorite. Mine's obviously picked Diamond Stephen Curry. That card is just an absolute demon, but let me know who yours is right down here in the comment section below. This also will be only a 1 or 2 part video, so right now we are going to be going over the F through the C tier on this video. So we're going to start off in the F tier and then go up, finish off the C tier, and then in the next video we're going to be at the S tier and then work our way all the way or start at the B tier and go up through to the S tier. If you guys like the video enough and you really show some wants for this to continue, I can drop part 2 later today and do the B through S, but if not, we can just drop it tomorrow. All good. So starting off in the F tier, you guys know I like to usually show you guys all of the bottom tier cards first. So here we are with, as you can see, Pink Diamond Peja Stojakovic. We have Amethyst Isaiah Thomas. We also have Pink Diamond Alvin Hayes and the Diamond Dennis Rodman. So, and Diamond Carlos Boozer. Forgot I'm even. So a lot of these guys, it's just very multifaceted. Alvin Hayes, I've never been a fan of. I know some people might like him. You know, maybe you want to throw him up a tier or 2 higher, and that is cool. But I'm just really not a fan. Peja Stojakovic is just a shooter, no defense, no finishing, no playmaking, no nothing. He can just shoot. He's really good at that, but doesn't even have range. So you gotta hug the line. It's not worth it. Isaiah Thomas, short king out there. Really, honestly, not a bad card. I've been doing some of his XP challenges recently, and he's actually pretty nice. Really overall solid card, but I do think there are some big things lacking with Isaiah Thomas, and by things I mean height. If he had maybe like a 6'3", he'd be great. Alvin Hayes, again, the post guy. Dennis Rodman, just a defensive guy that doesn't become with clamps. It's just not worth it. And Carlos Boozer, honestly, probably the best card on this little section here. Is overall value, but just really not feeling them too much. When it comes to E tier, we're going to have some cards that have some pretty big differences, or are just more like budget guys that just aren't on the same tier as some of these, higher up cards. We do have, starting off, Luca Doncic's Pink Diamond. Now, this Luca card, I absolutely love. I, again, went through when I did his XP challenges. I know some I say a lot in these videos, but he's actually super solid. One of the best offensive cards that I've used because of his gold range, gold quick first step, really good finishing, and just overall demon-like stats. But with Luca, he can't play any sort of defense. And he also really can't play the PG, which is tough. Obviously, we'll get a Luca that can, but with his slightly slow release, no defense, and pretty bad dribbling moves, if I'm being honest, Luca really just didn't jump out to me too much. I just really wasn't feeling him. Same goes out with James Harden. Dribbling moves are pretty good, all offensive beast. Can't really play the PG, and I feel like that's where these two would shine, because they have really good height for it. And they just both really just cannot play defense. And most of the other cards up here in the best tiers really can play defense, really can shoot well, or provide a really nice niche, spacing the floor on offense that really helps out. And I feel like these guys are great, but I just can't have my shooting guard being terrible on defense. I like that 3 and D. Next up, we do have Marquis Stoudemire. Same kind of deal where he plays really amazingly on offense and in the paint, but doesn't really have the shooting badges to really stretch the floor, and really doesn't have defense. You can badge it up and really make him nice, but I just overall don't really think it's too worth it, considering there are some budget guys who will show up, I think, in the D tier, who do exactly what this Marquis Stoudemire does, but better. Really just can't warrant it. Next up, we do have Pistol Pete, same as James Harden and Luca Doncic. Amazing on the offensive end, but really just can't play defense, and even then the dribbling sigs are a little iffy. I love Pistol Pete because he's got the Ray Allen jump shot base, but other than that, he doesn't really jump out to me too much with a lot of other things. So E tier, I think, is where he sits. And still, I do want to preface this, even though they're in E tier, these are still some of the best cards in the entire game, so they're still amazing. They're just not up to the level of some of these higher up cards. Because these are the best of the best, and these are still just some really good cards that just are slightly below some of the top tier ones. Next up, we do have Richie Warren, who I love as a budget guy. He just does everything really well. But Richie, again, I feel like I can definitely understand it if you want to move him up a tier into, D or maybe even C. I could get it, but with Richie, I feel like having a budget card that you really have to add quick for a step to is a really big deal. Also can't get range extender, which I don't like too much, and doesn't have all of the finishing badges that I would really want. Richie is a beautiful budget option, but I feel like in the terms of the best cards, he's one of the best Amethysts, but he's not one of the best cards overall. Oscar Robertson is kind of the same deal where Luca, James Harden, and Pete Maravich, where we're playing amazing on offense, has the Curry slide too, which is disgusting, but we really just can't play defense at this point in time. Big O is definitely going to get another card at like Pink Diamond or even Opal that is going to be insane at everything. So eventually his bad defense will be made up for, but right now it's not worth it. Same thing goes with Magic Johnson. You can kind of sense a theme with this tier. Really no defense at all. You can kind of get away with it with Magic Johnson because he's so tall as a PG. But Magic can't really shoot that great. His jump shot's a little iffy this year, if I'm being honest. We don't have a lot of shooting badges to go with it, and we can't add any badges to Magic either. So the lack of quick first step, the lack of clamps, it's just not for me, especially as a PG. Lacking quick first step is a massive L to me. Next up, we have Greg Odin, who I love as kind of like a nice little diamond card because he can play really solid defense. He can really kind of defend it well in the paint, but just really can't space the floor. Feels a little slow, feels a little clunky, and if I'm being honest, just didn't really impress me too much. Other than his midi, I think his jump shot is actually solid. Set shot 16, it's actually not that bad. I think as a big man jump shot, it's actually not that bad, but overall, I think his only bright spot is the fact that he has a good midi, and other than that, it's like, that's really the point. Next up, we do have Buck Williams, who I had actually down in F tier for a little while because to me, he's like another Dennis Rodman. But the thing about Buck Williams that I think I really like, and I think maybe put him up just a tier, is because he has silver quick first step, Hall of Fame intimidator, and gold clamps already, which I think is a big upgrade. Somebody like Dennis Rodman is great defensively and okay inside, just like Buck Williams, but doesn't have the downhill and quick first step on silver to really help him out. And I think it really helps him get down the court pretty fast, and could be really nice in some offline kind of, I guess, grinding vibes. Next up, we have Diamond Victor Oladipo, another card that I really like. I've recently picked up myself, but Victor Oladipo being 6'4" at 2 is a little bit undersized, which I'm not the most happy with. And then we're missing something like a sniper badge, which is obviously really tough. We're missing, obviously deep threes as a PG is a little bit of a big deal. And we're missing quick first step. I really just don't like it as a 2. It's not my thing. We got good defense, and we have some really nice finishing, but we can't really get to the paint as well because of the lack of quick first step. So not the biggest fan. Next up, Diamond Tyrique Evans. Tyrique is a guy that I really haven't been too big of a fan of since he dropped, and that's just because Tyrique does have Hall of Fame quick first step, so I know why so many of you guys like him. Has amazing finishing, has really good playmaking, but he has one of the worst jump shots in set shot 4 that I've ever used. It's the same jump shot as Peja and Dave Bang. Like, it's terrible. It's just such a bad shot that I just cannot get used to it. He has bronze clamps, which is pretty solid, but I still have cooked him every time I've gone against him. His drilling is solid, but not insane. And I cannot get over how bad that set shot 4 jump shot is, and that's why somebody like Peja is in F tier despite being only a shooter. And last but not least, we do have Ruby Nick Anderson. Now, Ruby Nick Anderson, I think, has become my favorite budget player in the entire game at this point in time, but you do have to realize that he is only just really a shooter, only has bronze clamps. We don't have quick first step, and his finishing is a little bit lackluster. So while he's an amazing budget card because of how good of a shooter he is, and having bronze clamps is still solid, he's still not the most amazing of cards, and there's very, very big weaknesses to him. Again, if you want to move him up to D, perfectly understand it, but I do think he's an amazing Ruby, one of the best Rubies, but still not top tier. Starting off, the D tier is starting to get some really, really nice cards that I really like and think provide a lot to a lot of people for their prices and things like that. Like, for instance, Diamond Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi is an amazing defender, has the Ray Allen jump shot base. It's just a super, super solid card at 6'7" at the 3 and the 4. it's okay at this point in time. 4 Hall of Fame badges on current gen and next gen, and I mean, Kawhi is going to be giving you some insane defense, but I think the thing that hurts this squad for me is, again, the lack of quick first step, and a lot of our good badges are in bronze and silver, which I don't really like silver catch and shoot, silver sniper, things like that, and a lot of silver finishing badges. You can definitely make it up and really help him out. You can also make Kawhi speed boost, but his dribbling animations are pretty terrible. So I feel like, to me personally, Kawhi just kind of feels like a 3 and D card, and again, I feel like there's a lot of better cards that can do that for around the same. Next up, we have Brandon Ingram. Kind of the same story. Ingram, I actually feel like, is a very solid card, and I really love his jump shot. Hall of Fame quick first step is amazing, but he has bronze range, and that's all he can get out of it. You can't upgrade it at all, which is a little bit tough. Definitely a little bit tough. And the defense isn't exactly there with Brandon Ingram. You can badge it up and can really kind of make him amazing, but as we'll see with some later on cards, Brandon Ingram can really get one out by a lot of other guys. His dribbling animations aren't the most insane. He's really good at the 3, but there's other guys that they dropped, even in the same set, that can play the 3. I personally feel like better than Brandon Ingram, so he's a great card. I had to knock him down a little bit. Next up, Andrea Bargnani's Ruby card. I've talked so much good about this Andrea Bargnani card. If you want to hear everything and me praise him and see where I have him ranked to center, you can definitely check that out in the center tier list. But simple, quick, brief explanation of Andrea Bargnani. Has the Amari Stoudemire jump shot, which is an amazing jump shot if you have the correct badges on your card, and Bargnani does have some really solid shooting badges, even as bronze range. Can hold his own on defense, unlike somebody like Amari, and still finish well, which is great. Next up, we have Amethyst Klay Thompson, who, again, I absolutely love this Klay Thompson, but I think when it comes to majority of the cards at this point in the year, you do have to understand that I think Klay is purely relegated to just 3 and D at this point now. Without any finishing badges, without quick first step and things like that, and playmaking, he really is just a catch and shoot guy that plays defense, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think Klay is one of the best cards when it comes to that, but outside of shooting and playing defense, he is definitely severely limited. Next up, we have Steve Francis, who, to me, I kind of segregated Richie Warren and Steve Francis apart from each other. I compared them, and I thought Richie Warren was just a step below Steve Francis. I prefer the Steve Francis jump shot for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it is just buttery smooth. The Dion Waiters one. Steve Francis has the Curry slide. Has bronze range already, which you can upgrade. Has bronze clamps, which you can upgrade. Has silver quick first step, which you can upgrade if you want, but I don't really find it necessary. Only things I would upgrade would probably be the clamps and maybe some like 3-point shooting. So Steve Francis is great. Amazing card, amazing budget guy, but again, there's so many PGs in the game at this point that I really had to knock him down because, again, there's so many great PGs that you have to be a little bit more harsh on some of them, even though Steve Francis is amazing. Next up, Pink Diamond Marquis Camby. Another very solid card, but just really plays the defensive niche of I'm going to play a lot of defense, I'm going to be a lob threat, and that's about it. I'm not going to shoot, I'm not going to play make or anything like that for you, but can hit the midi, has a decent jump shot, and is solid. So, D tier it is. I feel like a lot of the cards in the D tier are solid but don't amaze me. And then C tier is like solid but starting to amaze me a little bit more. So you guys can kind of see that. Next up, Gilbert Arenas. If this Gilbert card had a better release, I could easily throw him B tier without even question. But that jump shot is just so horrible that I threw him in a D tier. I know a lot of you guys love this Gilbert Arenas card, but there's just no way I can put him above D tier with how terrible that jump shot is. I understand if you really kind of can get that jump shot down, you can definitely have him as a B or A tier kind of PG, but what's the point in spending the same amount of MT to get that jump shot down that you could just spend on picking up later cards that we have in like the A tier, like Darren Williams? Like there's just no point. Next up, we have Tracy Mcgrady, one of the outliers to me personally in the all offense, no defense cards, like Luca and James Harden, because Tracy Mcgrady jump shot or trade break jump shot base is just amazing. I just love everything about T-Mac. Might be a little bit of bias, not gonna lie, but I love this T-Mac, everything that he does. And you can actually hide him pretty well on defense, even though he doesn't have clamps. So can kind of make it work. Next up, we have Adama LeBron James, who, if he had quick first step, again, I know I say it all the time, if he had quick first step, I'd throw him easily C or B tier because LeBron can do everything, like literally everything. A jack of all trades kind of card, just master of none, really. But very, 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 very solid. And again, if he had quick first step, I could throw him up there because he's got everything else really that you need. But the quick first step really kills any sort of like finishing that you could really have because you just can't get to the paint as consistently. Next up, Diamond Kevin Martin, a card that is one of the new promo pack cards that has dropped. And if I'm being honest, you guys want to look for this Kevin Martin. 6'7" is great. Comes with silver range extender and gold quick first step, and you can actually badge out a lot of really, really good defensive badges if you wanted to. But even when you boost up his defense, he still has some pretty bad defensive stats and some terrible defensive tendencies. So like, you can add clamps and make him play good defense, but it's not going to be the most amazing defender anyway, because the stats are they're just booty, man. They're just booty. But has jump shot 26, the Coutinho Mobley Dave DeBusschere jump shot. If you guys haven't used it, you need to give it a shot because, oh my lord, is it beautiful. One of my favorite jump shots in the game. Like, pick it up, try it out, and man, you will not be disappointed. Next up, we do have David West. At power forward, this David West is beautiful, and even at center can be a really nice stretch 5 option if you give him the opportunity to. It's a jump shot 4 base, which is beautiful, even an 80 shot 3, which is great. The only thing that I think hurts this David West is the fact that you got to add a lot of badges to him to really make him insane. You know, you got to give him range extender if you really want him to help out. Deadeye, maybe. Flexible release is definitely a nice one. You got to boost up his intimidator. You got to give him pogo stick. You got to give him post move lockdown. You got to give him clamps. So there's a lot of badges that this David West is missing. And in reflection of that, I put him down into D tier. But realistically, if you did fully badge him out, you may be able to sneak him up into C or B tier. But it's really just not worth it. Now, if you have to badge a card to move him up into the above average range, maybe it's not the most worth it. And last but not least, we do have Pink Diamond Bob Love. I've talked really good about Pink Diamond Bob Love, but when I was looking at a lot of these other cards, I feel like a lot of them have a little bit more to provide outside of purely defense, and that's really what Bob Love's niche is, really giving you good defense, solid post game, and the ability to stretch the floor at the 4. So, good, but I'm not sure if I'm fully on board on the Bob Love train. He's great, but I don't feel myself really upset that I didn't get him off the Ascension board because it doesn't seem game-breaking to me. Same thing with the Bob Lanier. Starting off into the C tier, we have Lamarcus Aldridge. Lamarcus Aldridge, I've told you guys yesterday in the Center Steelers video. If you watched it, if you haven't watched it, please go check it out. This Lamarcus Aldridge is probably one of my favorite cards at stretching the floor to run as like that stretch 5. Because Lamarcus Aldridge has that Hall of Fame catch and shoot. You can add range extender and flexible release to him, or deep threes and sniper, and then it's over. Still plays some super solid defense, has a nice post game, and his LA jump shot base Amari Stoudemire jump shot base is just one of those jump shots that is so smooth and simple to just knock down. Seriously, play your games of Unlimited and get up to Lamarcus Aldridge and Chris Mullin because these are some of the best free cards that you can pick up. Absolutely insane. Next up, Sam Jones, who has everything in his arsenal to be a top shooting guard besides height. 6'4" is great, has some solid finishing, has amazing shooting Hall of Fame badges, which you gotta love, like Deadeye and Catch and Shoot, has Hall of Fame quick first step, has gold clamps, and silver deep threes as well as circus threes. Now you really do need to boost up the finishing because he's got an 80 driving dunk, but then 3 gold badges in finishing on next gen. So he's missing a lot of things like Giant Slayer, Posterizer, Highlight Film, Pro Touch, Solidity Finisher. Gotta add those. But he is 6'4", so at the 2, that's pretty tough, especially when you're going against, guys like Tracy Mcgrady who are 6'8" at this point. Luca, who's 6'7", it's gonna be a little bit tough. And as the meta gets taller and taller, like it always does in 2K, Sam Jones is gonna find himself falling farther and farther behind. But it's still a very solid card at this point in time, although I really wouldn't recommend locking in. Next up, John Wall. Insane defender, insane slasher, awesome playmaker, just shooting's his downfall. That's really all you need to say about John Wall. Shooting is his downfall, and in 2K, being able to shoot with your PG and stretch the floor and at least make your the guy that's guarding you have to think a little bit more about dropping off is huge. And I think John Wall is one of the best just purely defensive and slashing cards in the game at PG, but you really need that ability to shoot. Next up, John Havlicek, same kind of story as Sam Jones. Actually, same story as Sam Jones, has everything in his arsenal to really be a killer, but is 6'5" at the 2. It's not as bad, but 6'5" at the 3 and the 2 is a little bit tough. I'm not feeling it too much, and his jump shot is very, very, very slow. At least Sam Jones has like a quicker jump shot, so you get an extra inch of height on John Havlicek, but then you get a slower jump shot, so it's a little bit tough. I was still able to make the XP challenges go pretty quick with Havlicek, but it was harder than I anticipated because that jumper, it's a little bit tough. Next up, Pink Diamond Grant Hill, who is seriously, if I'm being honest, I think I'm coming to realize this Grant Hill is probably the best slasher I've ever gone against in a 2K game. But I think the big thing that really hurts this Grant Hill, at least to me personally, is even when badged out, he's not the most insane shooter because jump shot 1 is just, it's a tough jump shot. It's one that you really got to get used to. Has really everything else in his arsenal. Amazing slasher, Hall of Fame quick first step and downhills, amazing gold clamps and everything like that. But I just don't think that his shooting ability can really keep up with everything else that he does because of his jump shot 1, and his dribbling animations are absolutely terrible. There's a lot of really good slashers with some nice dribbling animations as well for around the price that this Grant Hill is going for. And I know people love this Grant Hill card, but I really think that he's a little bit overrated. We need to come back down to earth just a little bit for me. But it's also an example of why a Sam Jones is in the C tier despite having all the cards, because you can go against, this 6'8" Grant Hill at the 2 and gives you a bit of a size mismatch. Next up, we have Michael Redd. Now, I understand that this Michael Redd one might be a little bit controversial being into the C tier, but there's actually a significant amount of 2 guards that have came out with really good shooting with gold range, silver quick first step, and a higher level of clamps in defense than this Michael Redd has. So while Michael Redd has the Ray Allen jump shot base and is absolutely insane, there's actually quite a few cards I think that do everything that Michael Redd does, but a little bit better. So I had to rank Michael Redd lowest out of all of the really, really good shooting guards with decent defense. So it sucks, but this Michael Redd card is an absolute demon. The Ray Allen jump shot base, he can kill it. But I still think Michael Redd is just a worse version of Ray Allen, even though they have the same base. Next up, Boris Dio, one of my favorite cards in the game, literally the best Swiss Army knife card in the entire game. Jack of all trades, master of all of them. He's just so good. His defense is great. Add quick first step to him, and he is now a demon. Add range extender to him, now he's one of the most unstoppable cards in the game. I love this Boris Dio. I cannot talk enough about how great he is. Really pick him up, and for a budget card, it doesn't get too much better than that. Next up, we have Pink Diamond Jalen Brown from the limited rewards. If you guys haven't checked out the gameplay on Jalen, check it out. But the big thing that hurts Jalen is when you badge him up correctly, that's talking, you add quick first step, beautiful. You add hot zone hunter, beautiful. You add range extender, beautiful. It's so expensive. Like, it is so expensive. Even adding an intimidator as well to really make this Jalen Brown one of the best cards in the game. You can skyrocket him up into the A to S tier range, but you're spending nearly 200k to do so for a free card. So I think for the vast majority of people, that's pretty outlandish. I think just adding quick first step is a very solid thing that can make this Jalen Brown amazing for most people, and that's where this ranking is, where most people are going to be able to get the card at C tier. Very solid, but I think overall can be higher. Just preface that, can be higher, but just an average ranking. Next up, we do have a Diamond Ben Simmons. If this Ben Simmons even had a mid-range shot, I think I could put him higher on this list, because this Ben Simmons at 6'10" is probably the best defender at the 3 and the 4 that there is in the game. Like, seriously has Giannis level size with insane defense, gold quick first step, gold dimer, and amazing finishing. Now, they did give Ben Simmons a bunch of shooting badges you can boost, actually all of them that you can add to him. But if I'm being honest, what's the point, man? Like, what's the point of adding all of those shooting badges just so that your 46 mid-range isn't as terrible? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think pick up this Ben Simmons as is. He's absolutely amazing, one of the best defenders, one of the best slashers in the game, but severely hurt by his lack of shooting, because, I mean, guys, you can just sit in the paint against this Ben Simmons and he won't score a single point, period. It's tough. Next up, we have Diamond Otis Birdsong. who, again, when you badge him up, can be absolutely amazing, but I felt like it made a little bit more sense to rank him based off of what the vast majority of people are going to be able to do with him. But Otis Birdsong at 6'3" at the PG is absolutely insane. He has gold quick first step and gold clamps already, but you really got to badge up that shooting, like giving him Deadeye, deep threes, set shooter, sniper, giant slayer, all really good badges, but they cost quite a bit of MT, and you have to give him a really good 3-point shoe to boost that up to an 86, and then a coach boost like a Mike D'Antoni to get it to a 90, and then you're looking at a really, really demon like Otis Birdsong that low-key is into like the A tier of PGs. But again, based off of what most people can do with him, it's really just picking him up and using him as is without all the range extender and stuff like that, because let's be real, most people don't have range to add to Otis Birdsong or the MT to do so. So I think C tier was a pretty fair ranking for him. Next up, Detlef Schrempf, one of the wonderful jump shot 40 cards that are in the game that just do everything wonderfully. Great size of 6'9", but doesn't have quick first step. You got to badge up all of his defensive badges that he has to really make him great, as well as some finishing. I think he's just one of those jack of all trade cards, but master of none until you add a range extender on him, and even then without quick first step, I'm going to do it again, I can't rank him higher. Next up, Paul George. I think this PG is still one of the most amazing 3-and-D cards to use at the 3 and the 4. But the one thing I think that's hurting Paul George for me personally is a lot of the other cards that are coming out at least have the ability to gain range, like a Grant Hill, while giving you better finishing and just as good, if not better, defense. So there wasn't too much reason to use this Paul George, because I could even pick up a Grant Hill, give him range extender, and then do everything like Paul George and just shoot a little bit better. It just didn't make too much sense to me. Next up, we have Diamond Kevin Love. This ranking is purely based on if you give him all of the defensive badges, because they're not as expensive. The one that you're really going to be breaking the bank for is going to be Intimidator, because you have to add that. But you can also add clamps to him, which is really nice. Post move lockdown is a really, really solid one other than that, as well as finishing off the pogo stick up to gold. Then once you do that, he's a center that comes with Hall of Fame catch and shoot and deep threes on gold. He's beautiful. I love him. Kevin Love's great. Next up, we have Elgin Baylor, who I think could be one of the best small forwards in the game if he just had like 3-point hot zones and like bronze range extender. This Elgin Baylor could be amazing, because Elgin is a clamp god, plays great defense, does everything on the defensive end, absolutely insane. Still shoots well, 95s in his speed is beautiful, lightning quick with gold quick first step, even has gold intimidator, but no hot zones around the 3-point line. So the Brook Lopez base, even though it's amazing, just doesn't feel as good as it should, and it really hurts. So Elgin's big negative is just lack of shooting. And last but not least, we have Drazen Petrovic. Drazen, I love, absolutely amazing, but another case like John Havlicek, where the jump shot is just so slow that it really hurts me. And again, I feel like the thing with Drazen and like a Michael Redd is that they're really, really good offensively. The defense is a little bit lackluster. And in the case of Drazen, I just don't like how slow the jump shot is. And he also has a lack of dunking and only go bronze quick first step, which is a little tough. I think Drazen's amazing. You can definitely make him work, but I don't like to rank cards very high that you have to make work. So Drazen's great, but again, just didn't oomph me too much. So this is what we got through the F through C tier. Again, if you guys really want part 2 to drop to see the B through S tier cards, make sure you guys spam the like button and comment down below letting me know that you guys want to see it, along with all the other wonderful stuff that we talked about in the video before. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. We are on that road to 10K subscribers, and let me know what you guys think of the tier list down below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next video.